Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we're going to begin the funeral service of Mr. Gary Marc Rosenthal. We welcome those of you who are joining us online, and for those of you who are here, I kindly ask you to please be sure your cellular phones have been turned off. Rabbi Michael Summer will be officiating the sacred funeral ceremony, and prior to the beginning of the service, he did the ceremony of Kriya, of tearing of the ribbon.
Esainai el heharim me'ain yavo Ezri. Esainai el heharim me'ain yavo Ezri. Ezri me'im Adonai Oseh Shemayim va'aretz. Ezri me'im Adonai Oseh Shemayim va'aretz. The psalmist in those words wrote long ago, I lift my eyes to the mountains. What is the source of my help? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your protector will not slumber. See, the protector of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your guardian. God is your protection at your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. God will guard you from all harm. God will guard your soul, your going and coming, now and forever. What is the measure of a man? His measure is the kind words people say when he isn't there, and the memories he creates that stay indelible in the minds of all who knew him. What is the measure of a man? It is the amount of love he leaves in people's hearts and the laughter he leaves upon people's lips. What is the measure of a man? It is the length of time he's remembered, his good deeds and his kind words, measured in the length of years. Stories of his best moments and loving kindness get told by family and loved ones alike. Gary Rosenthal has died too young and too soon for all of us. No matter what, we never have time enough with those we love the most. None of us want to be here today or expected to be here so suddenly. In our grief, we do our best to remember all the goodness Gary brought into your lives. In our tears, we remember the laughter, the warmth, the moments we hold closest in order to comfort us in our sadness. We try to live the best lives we know how. We do our best to bring more love into the world and to care for the people who are important in our lives. Family was everything to Gary. Survived by his loving mother, Marcia, and his stepmother, Valerie. Predeceased by his father, Sheldon, of blessed memory, and his stepfather, Gerald, of blessed memory. Brother to Keith and his sister-in-law, Cherry, and loved uncle of Eliza. Loving partner of Carrie for over 15 years. Son, brother, grandson, cousin, uncle, and partner. Gary loves spending all of his life with you. May Gary's memory always be a blessing as we celebrate who he was and all he added to your lives. A poet wrote, if you are reading this, then I must be gone. Remember me true, my good days and bad, although I hope our memories hold more smiles than pain. Remember the days filled with laughter, so that your tears may hold some sweetness and less sorrow. I never claimed perfection, but please forgive me those moments when I couldn't admit I was wrong. I tried to fit so much in what felt like so little time. Life is built day upon day, where memories accumulate like fallen leaves in autumn. We keep only the most special and colorful ones, while the rest are swept away and forgotten. I'm so blessed for all my days you've filled with so much color. If this is being read, and I'm off elsewhere, never to return, remember my love for you more than anything else, because in the end, that is all that matters most. The birds made popular these ancient words of Ecclesiastes when they sang that there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak. And now is the time we speak of Gary's life, as I call up his brother, Keith, to say a few words.
Hello, everyone, and I want to thank everyone who's known Gary that's here and those who weren't able to make it. And I love everyone for able to, for those who knew my brother, who lived a short life, 52 years. I want to say, though, that although this is a sudden tragic time for my mom and I and our family and all of us, that there were a lot of times of celebration in his life. I can remember sometimes just going to certain events with some of his friends that are here with us, Mark and Ryan, and his longtime girlfriend and companion, Carrie, joining family events with my wife and our family, our extended family, Anna and her family. Of course, my stepmother, Valerie, and his step-aunts, and Harry, those of you that are here. I'm sorry if I miss Mark, Elaine, everyone. I'm sorry if I'm missing anyone. Julie, hi. I just really want to take this time in such a time of sorrow that we really need to, even though we may have lost a piece in our heart for my brother, mine a big piece. We have a lot of good memories of him. And thank you all for coming to pay your respects and to remember him. I really appreciate it. My mom and I deeply really are grateful and appreciative of that. Thank you.
Gary was born in Chicago at the Michael Reese Hospital in 1969. He grew up, of course, with Keith and their parents on the north side in Niles for most of his adult life. He graduated from Maine East High School and went to Oakton Community College for a few years and worked for Jewel Osco for the majority of his adult life. Keith, you talked about how your family is so close-knit and always loves spending time together as often as possible. Marcia, you talked about how Gary was always loved coming home for weekends and getting everyone together to just go out for lunch or to watch a movie. He just loved coming home on the weekends. Gary loved planning every family adventure and being a cruise director, telling people where you all should go and what you all should be doing to have fun together. Gary loved going to the movies and attending sporting events, seeing baseball games, the Bears once in a while or the Bulls whenever possible. And if it wasn't possible to be at the game, Gary loved sitting at home with you all and watching the games on television, rooting for his teams. Typically, Gary loved to watch action films, but Keith, you spoke about forcing him to see different types of movies once in a while to change things up. But Gary only reluctantly allowed you to choose what film you would watch in the theater or whenever you rented movies and brought them home. As family, you also loved going on vacation together and seeing family in Arizona and California. Gary loved being an uncle and spending time with Keith, Cherry, and Eliza. Gary could be quite the jokester and loved making everyone laugh. Life wasn't always easy for Gary, but he had all of you who supported and believed in him and made sure he had all the right assistance to allow him to have the best life he could live. We aren't supposed to be here today. Today we have more questions and no answers to help with our loss and our grief. All we have are memories Gary has left us to remember him and make us smile when you think of one of his jokes or the fun you all had spending quality time together. Family was Gary's highest priority. He loved spending every moment he could with all of you. We all try to live the best life we know how. You are everything to Gary. He has gone too soon and will be missed tremendously. May you remember Gary in his strength and health, and may his memory and laughter always be a blessing in your hearts. The poet Merritt Malloy once wrote, "When I die, give what's left me away to children and old people who wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother and sister walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved, and if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not on your mind. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands, by letting bodies touch bodies, and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away." We rise for El Malei Rachamim, the memorial prayer. El Malei Rachamim, Shochein Bamromim, Hamsei Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei HaShchina, Im Keroshim Torim, Kezohar Akia Mazirim, Et Nishmat Gedalia Ben Mirala, Shalach Lolamo, Baal Rachamim Yasirehu, Beseter Kanafav Lolamim, Vitzor HaChaim Et Nishmato, Adonai hu nachlato, v'yanuach b'shalom, al mishkavo v'namar amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Gary Marc Rosenthal, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let him find refuge in your eternal presence and in the shadow of your wings, and let his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is his inheritance. May he rest in peace, and let us say, Amen. We continue together in your pamphlets reading the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. We continue with the mourner's Kaddish. I ask you to rise. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, bi'alma divra chirotei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'maru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'ita dar, v'ita lev, v'ita lal, shemed, kudusha, barichu. La'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiran be'alma v'maru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'maru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mamav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'maru. Amen. May God grant peace to those who mourn and comfort to all who bereaved among us as we say together. Amen.
Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the interment service will continue at Waldheim Cemetery in Forest Park. It will probably take us a little bit less than an hour to get there. The Shiva will continue here at the funeral home following the interment. Memorial contributions to NAMI of Chicago, it's a National Alliance of Mental Illness, or Parkinson's Foundation. That information you can find on the service folder, and for those of you who are online, you can find that information on our website. For those of you who will be driving in the funeral procession to the cemetery, the procession will be forming in our parking lot. Please obtain an orange safety funeral sticker to place on the right-hand side of your windshield. Have your bright lights and hazard lights on at all times. For additional measures of safety, we will be providing a car in the back of the procession to hopefully keep other cars from entering the procession. Please use your horn liberally as you're going through the intersections, and please do not speak or text on your cellular phone while driving to a cemetery. Also, we will be going on the route of 294 south, so we're going to be going Dempster west, 294 south, then 290 east, and depending on the traffic, we might just exit Mannheim and take Roosevelt Road all the way to the cemetery. This time I invite everyone to please rise and stand in place as we escort the casket of Mr. Gary Marc Rosenthal from the chapel, and then you may return to your cars.